To any police officers listening to this is me exercising my freedom of speech, also my freedom of the press, also my freedom of religion, and my right to bear arms, because I use my voice as my weapon, and I feel like that's how we should all be fighting, is just with communication, dialogue. I was done pretty dirty by my ex-wife. I have now not seen my daughter since January 6, 2019. That is 4 fucking years plus, which is a lot. So to any police officers, jury members listening to this is a letter that I wrote to a judge. She was the one in my protective order hearing, but it is to all the judges in Bryan County, because maybe y'all need to pay attention to what's going on in y'all's county. Like, y'all should not be allowing this stuff to be going on in y'all's courtroom, because I feel like I felt negatively imposed upon by every single person in the fucking courthouse, literally because they thought that they were being good friends to shitty people. Rob Henderson is a shitty person. Megan Henderson, formerly known as Megan Meeks, Megan Hartley, they're just shitty people. They fucked me over, they fucked my daughter over, and everything that I do from here forward for the rest of my life, based on their signature by saying, yes, we're willing to fuck this guy over, they have signed up for everything that I'm going to do to them. And that is literally just for the rest of eternity, calling them out for taking my daughter from me. I have not seen her since January 6, 2019. I've been through a lot of trauma. There was a year prior to my daughter being removed from my life where they were secretly having an affair behind my back. I got tons of evidence and proof and videos and recordings. And honestly, anything that I did in that time period, I'll just say, I was being played for a fool, so nothing made sense, so I was acting like an idiot. So, apologies on that. That's all I can do. I'm sorry I was weird while not properly being manipulated correctly, because nothing made sense. Like, the love of my life started disconnecting from me. You know, we called this daughter forth out of the universe, prayed to God to get Willow Hartley Meeks into our lives. We got her into our lives, and then she's talking about changing her name and changing her last name and all kinds of shit. It drove me mad because it made no sense. Like, you gotta understand that this was the most important thing in my life. It made me want to be a better person. It made me want to be a better dad to my other kids. Everything. So I'm going to read this letter to you. This is something I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning the other day before work and wrote this letter. Okay? It says, questioning Judge Abby Rogers. This is to Judge Abby Rogers. Why is it that I, as your everyday Joe, who has been to court a dozen times total in my life, half of which had nothing to do with my personal life, my experience level had to be around a 2 out of 10. In contrast, yours and Rob's should have been around a 7 to 10 for both of you. You place a higher expectations of keeping myself emotionally in check than you, a judge, or Rob Henderson, a lawyer. When I think judge, I think of the fact that you spend at least 40 hours a week, years on end, dealing with trial type stuff. Robert Henderson had to spend hundreds of hours in court settings. Rob had emotional fits, and you, Judge Rogers, also had many outbursts. Even the court reporter on 2 occasions broke down crying and had to leave the courtroom. I was the only victim in the room. I had not seen my daughter in over a year at the first hearing and multiple years by the second, third, and fourth hearings in your courtrooms. Not counting the other cases in which the false allegations or half-truths of Mr. Robert William Henderson or Megan Colleen Henderson, formerly Meeks, Shimanek, Hartley, and McCardle, landed me charges that were ultimately dismissed in the interest of justice. The prosecutor came out and shook my hand and congratulated me on the dismissal. I am currently facing one more charge for the violation of a protective order that I 100% did not violate. Still, somehow, Robert Henderson got a friend that is likely a member of his Freemason organization to assist in getting another charge on me. Criminal charges do not scare me in a sense. At least I am provided a lawyer and can take it to randomly selected jury instead of people who are friends with Rob choosing to condemn me in his favor for no reason except to silence me about what they did to me. I was not granted a lawyer for the civil cases, even though protective orders have criminal ramifications. Shit, even stripping me of some of my freedoms, freedom of speech, my right to bear arms, even though, I don't need a gun. I've never needed a gun. I've never been a gun person. But my right to bear arms is my freedom of speech. But my right to bear arms, they took my guns away, even though I don't need them. I was not... There was never one fear of me being violent. I'm a pacifist. The people and ideas that inspire me in life are Sam Harris, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, Dr. Romney, TED Talks, and there are thousands of those. Motivational books, Buddhism, mindfulness meditations, the Knight's Code, one of which is to not stay silent in the face of injustice. The protective orders were used for nefarious and frivolous reasons. I assume you, the judge, was oblivious to the manipulations employed against a man you trusted. That man being Rob Henderson. Man, I look down and I lose my spot. By the end of the second protective order hearing, you had it all sorted out that clearly they were playing the entirety of Bryan County Courthouse for fools, and that's why you didn't grant the second protective order. Don't worry, Megan played my entire family for fools. Something about her makes it hard to not believe what's coming from her mouth. Yes, fact. Rob Henderson is the third man Megan ended up having a child with after seducing said man from their marriages. The first was Mr. Ford from the Galveston, Texas area. The second was me, obviously, and now the third is Mr. Henderson. We were all married when Megan used seduction tactics at the peril of the family she destroyed for her gain. Megan and Rob were guilty of the crime of homewrecking in Durant, Oklahoma. I am not sure if Megan or John Nix is the one guilty of the crime of contract fraud in Sherman. She and Rob act like they were oblivious to the changes made without pleadings. John Houston Nix changed my divorce pleadings after I signed them with no pleadings orally or in writing. All of my signatures were no longer valid once the document was modified. They served an address they knew I did not live at to ensure that I didn't know of the hearing, and John lied to Judge Phillips, stating he had informed me in our previous meeting about said hearing. I had the recording of the whole meeting, where I told him an excellent address to serve me, and that I no longer agreed to anything I had signed. We were going to proceed forward with establishing child support and visitation. Nowhere in that meeting did he inform me about an upcoming trial. Yes, I am sure were routes for me to check daily to find out, but going through the massive levels of distress from my life falling apart and the crossfire of two ex-wives set out to destroy me, I was mentally at capacity. Megan and Rob and John had at least 20 points of contact to plan and organize a fair trial. They intentionally did not do that. They intentionally kept this silent, counting on my failure to secure their victory and allow their lies to reign supreme without my presence to fight those lies. Megan used false charges and or allegations against her first husband and then her second husband to call forth white knights like myself against her first husband and Mr. Henderson against her second husband. It's a cookie cutter formula to save her. Save her from this abusive ex. She's pretending like she's a victim. This girl presses people to the brink. She wants them to snap so that she can fucking play them for the violent person. She told me in my marriage with her that she pushed her first husband to the point of stabbing at her with a knife. He caught her purse, but she called him like a bitch, piece of shit motherfucker, just trying to push him to the brink of stabbing at her with a knife. In the world of mythological creatures, Megan is a siren. Her beautiful, sweet voice calls sailors to wreck into the rocks. And that is a thing. Like, if you look up mythology, they sang their song, and the sailors, and their ships, okay? The ships are their families. Like, the sailor is the captain of their ship, and their ship is their family. So they wreck sailors into the rocks. That is the metaphor that I have permanently assigned to Megan. She's a fucking siren. She destroys families. That is some kind of weird personal desire in her life. Megan is not allowed to be startled what I do on the internet. It is the terms we agreed upon in the event that she kept my daughter from me. This, what I'm doing right here, is our original terms for me signing away my rights to my daughter. My daughter was never supposed to be excluded from my life, and in the event that she was excluded from my life, I was supposed to be able to do exactly what I'm doing right now. Talk about what they did to me. They changed my divorce decree, put verbiage in there to silence me from what I'm doing to try and prevent this from happening. I got 2 charges for violating that order, even though they were put in on the fly without pleading for them at all. A cop that did not fully investigate the situation put the charges on me. But the DA, once the DA talked to my lawyer, boom, it was all gone. Like, my lawyer knew this situation before the situation was the situation. My lawyer is a board certified family attorney. He's been doing it since 1994 in this area. And the motherfucker will not get on stand and lie for nobody. Him and his wife drove to Durant, Oklahoma to testify on my behalf without me paying them a dime, because he said, I have to go up there because there's no way you're going to survive this if I don't go. He counts me as his wayward son. Him and his wife count me as their wayward son. They care about me. He's heard my story over and over and over again. I spent at least bare minimum 150 to 200 hours sitting in a vehicle with him, driving back and forth to job sites, talking about what they did to me. Plus, he already had context because Megan was the one that talked to him first. Megan spoke to him in the first months that I was talking to him. She gave him $4,000 to fight for my other kids. She paid for this shit. So he knew what was going on. He knew from her side what was going on. And she still paid him while she was student loan money, whatever. I feel like at this point, whatever financial shit that has been lost on her end is, that shit's wrote off in the fact that I've been through therapy. I've been through fucking mental anguish. I've been through the loss of my daughter for 4 years. And even at this point right now, all they got to do is, hey, Brandon, I'm sorry. Willow needs you in her life. Obviously, we see that now. Maybe it took us a minute to get there, but Willow really needs her dad in her life. Can you take it upon yourself to just be a part of her life and cover half the driving? Fuck child support. Child support is off the table at this point. 50-50 custody. If it needs to be 5 days a week at her house and 2 days at mine, whatever, or 6 days a month at mine, but whatever. At this point, I feel like I've gone through 4 years of missing my daughter, so fuck child support. She got a lawyer, so she don't need my money. She was never supposed to be exiled from my life, and money would have never been an issue. Megan is not allowed to be startled by what I do on the internet. It is the terms we agreed upon in the event she kept my daughter from me. She used the same methods against others to hold them publicly accountable for their actions. And saying that is that what I'm doing right now to her, she was doing to her first ex-husband. Calling people out publicly to shame on them for the bad things that they're doing. Okay? Everyone around them needs to know what they are capable of and are willing to do to win at any cost. They have harmed me in every way a person can be injured: physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, romantically, psychologically, and intimately. I am 100% that years of healthy life have been shaved off my existence dealing with the massive loads of stress this has put on me. That takes away from my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth is a phrase that is commonly used in legal proceedings, particularly in courts of law. It is a solemn oath or affirmation that witnesses take before giving testimony, in which they swear to tell the truth and to provide a complete and accurate account of the events or information they are testifying about. Rob and Megan used partial truths to manipulate the court into an unfair ruling. There is not one moment from the beginning of this whole fucking thing dealing with Rob and Megan that I believe that Megan thought that I would physically harm her. But she thinks that me doing exactly what I'm doing right now is justified reason to ask for a protective order, when all of this is only happening because she had an affair with a married lawyer, Rob William Henderson, He's like 42. He's like the same damn age as me. Women are naturally hypergamous. They want a man that is equal or up, but not down. Megan was about to supersede me in finances, which she wasn't at the time, but I was really pushing her to get them raises, pushing them to... Rob Henderson did not want to pay her right. That's why all this shit came to fruition. I pushed her to fucking make this guy fall in love with you so he cares about you enough. I just thought that his church and his wife and his kids mattered more than him getting some pussy from his secretary. But anyways, Rob and Megan used partial truths to manipulate the court into an unfair ruling. The phrase emphasizes the importance of honesty and integrity in the legal system, and it is meant to remind witness of their duty to provide truthful and reliable testimony. Nothing they said was truthful. Nothing they said was reliable. You can tell in every instance, if you just listen to both of the audio recordings of both court hearings, you can tell that Reagan Sifferman was lying her fucking ass off in an attempt to help Rob. She didn't want to be doing it, but she was trying to be there as a friend to this guy. Me and Reagan spent maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes total talking to each other. And she was acting like she was kind of some kind of expert witness on my mental state and where I'm going to do, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to be. But then a complete retard when it came to me asking her about Robert's shit that she had clearly already witnessed, because he sort of pushed her to attest that she had seen him go through bipolar mental episodes, but acted like she was this master witness on me. There's people that have lived with me for 10, 14 years that don't know shit about my mental state. I'm stable as fuck. I practice Buddhism and mindfulness is like, that's my bread and butter of life right there. Anyways, by taking this oath or affirmation, witnesses are legally bound to provide truthful and complete testimony without omitting or withholding any relevant information. At not one point throughout that entire hearing did Megan or Robert mention that they were having an affair behind my back and lying their fucking asses off to me the whole time. Megan did not mention that she was destroying potential relationships that I could be establishing so that I could land in a square position to actually be able to co-parent effectively with her. I was talking to this nurse, her name's Michelle, and she's a nurse. I was making $18 an hour. She was making $21 an hour. Like, we could have had a nice house together. Megan and Rob could have got together. They could have had their house together. Willow could have been bouncing back and forth between a fucking contract, a foreman of a construction site, and a nurse, and a paralegal, and a lawyer. But instead, we decided this was the best right to file. The fucking blowing the dad up, getting the dad out of the situation when nobody is going to love Willow like I love Willow. She's my daughter. Anyways, this rule helps to ensure that the legal process is fair and just and that the truth is ultimately revealed. Rob and Megan committed so many counts of perjury, it was disgusting. And honestly, while Megan was on stand, she testified that I was looking her in disgust. And I was fully disgusted. So she wasn't stating a fucking falsity right there. I was disgusted that she was willing to lie her ass off to that degree to burn her child's father simply to gain the favor of a lawyer that she was manipulating out of his marriage. And I do not know what lies she told to him to get him to where he is that fucking brain dead into her vagina. He is a Freemason. Like, Megan fucking made out with a straight guy while a gay guy blew him so that he could fucking get off. That's the type of shit that Megan does. Megan slept with all of her fucking chiefs in the military to get ahead. She fucking... When I started having sex with Megan, she was already dating this guy named Kevin Miller, and we drove to Vegas and she got proposed to on the rooftop by a guy named Brent Sturgeon. She said yes. He gave her an $8,000 wedding ring and a car, and then she fucking was fucking me from that morning before he proposed to her, and the next day. Megan has no faithfulness to anybody. And I'm just going to say, maybe I'm a shithead, man. Like, it was the first time that I'd experienced love and passion and intimacy. And like I just went from like level 3 sex to level 9 sex. I couldn't, and just say I'm a guy, I'm stupid, whatever. My penis just runs my life. But Rob and Megan committed so many counts of perjury, it was disgusting. And for what? What have I done except not lay silent while they took advantage of me? While I was in court, I tried using the metaphor that I am a victim of a crime worse than rape. And after years of reflection, I still believe what I'm saying with that statement to be accurate. Realistically, rape and what was done to me are the same. In essence, it's being taken advantage of. I left myself exposed and vulnerable, and I trusted the people involved to not take advantage of me, and they did it anyway, feeling that since I wore the short skirt or low-cut top, I deserved to be taken advantage of. And that metaphor, I can expound upon it so many different directions, but in its essence, it truly is. I trusted Megan. I trusted her wholeheartedly. I trusted Rob wholeheartedly. I trusted John Nix after I sat and had this conversation with him, Audio 63. If anybody wants to listen to it, I'm absolutely certain it's in one of my YouTube videos. If not, message me, ask me for it. You can listen to it. You got from the introduction of, hello, this is John Houston Nix. All right, man. You have a good day. Bye. The whole conversation from beginning to end, every stupid ass thing that I said, you know, I wasn't a bad dude. Like, I was just a guy that was being played for a fool for way too long. Like, from the time I found him, by the time I caught Rob Henderson at the house, and when their shit started, they started May 18th, 2018. January 6th, 2019 is when I caught them at the house together on a Sunday when he should have been at church with his family, because I thought Peterson's Crossing wanted to have him be at their church. To this moment right now, reiterate multiple times over, if Rob Henderson came to me or Megan came to me and said, hey, Brandon, let's stop this stupid shit. We need to stop all of it. I need you to sign a non-disclosure agreement. I will sign it. But what's out there is out there. I can't stop that. But moving forward, honestly, the truth is maybe me doing what I'm doing, ultimately changing them doing what they're doing, can be a cookie cutter formula for someone that ends up in my position to stop people in their position from doing what they're doing. Rob and Megan got strung out on amphetamines, methamphetamines, whatever amphetamines. And I've had nothing but the worst shit in my life happen out of people that are on amphetamines over and over again. Talking like bad shit, all of it. I ain't seen one fucking amazing story that came out of amphetamines. And then when I was at my deposition hearing, I got this on tape too. Megan said something along the lines of, you know, I was going to let Willow stay in your life until you busted in that door. She says busted in that door. Like, you can play the video of me coming through the door the day that I found them at the house. I was peaceful and mindful the whole fucking way through that door, but I deserved fucking answers. I'd been lied to for damn near a year. I deserved fucking answers. Like, nobody that was supposed to be in a relationship with either one of us was supposed to be in the same house with our daughter. That's what she wanted. That's what Megan fucking proposed. That's what fucked me off with the nurse. That's why I couldn't have the relationship with the nurse, is because she set all this shit in place because she didn't want to get caught with the lawyer. And then when she got caught with the lawyer, all these hoops that I had been jumping through, they fucking went out the window. None of it mattered. She'd been fucking around with him the whole time. She fucking lied to me about going on Bumble dates. She's like, oh yeah, I went out with this guy tonight. You know, there was like 6 months where we were going through a divorce, but still sleeping together every fucking night. I won't say every night, but I'll say 80% of nights. Me and her slept together, had sex together. We really enjoyed having sex. Like, from the very beginning of our lovemaking session, it was just, there's a connection that could not be explained. We called it the avatar. You know, we were connected, we were bonded. There was passion and intimacy and closeness, wetness, explosiveness that could not be explained by anything other than some kind of cosmic thing. And I've had sex with a lot of women in my life. A lot of women in my life. And I don't want to say she's number one, but she's in the top 5 for sure. And I believe that she used that ability to have amazing sex to fucking rope this lawyer in. I'm getting off base here. I deserve to be taken advantage of. Judges are expected to be impartial and unbiased in all cases, regardless of whether counsel represents the litigant or is proceeding pro se without an attorney. However, studies and anecdotal evidence suggest that some judges may hold negative attitudes or biases against pro se litigants, which can result in unfair treatment or disadvantage in court proceedings. In both cases, Rob, being a lawyer, did not help me with my case as I was pro se. And I can even add to that by saying that Rob said that there's a lot of factors. He calls it home cooked. When someone that is deeply established in the civil court system, which I never heard the word before Rob Henderson, but he calls it home cooked. And then he said that there was some lawyer in that town who handled a divorce for some judge in that town. And if that lawyer was representing somebody, then there was no chance that that lawyer would lose his case because if that judge was on the stand. Because, and if I'm wrong about all that, I'm wrong about all that. But to any judge listening to this, if there is a lawyer that Rob Henderson could be saying that you cut for because he handled your divorce, and then you can maybe look at the statistical data of what he's saying. I don't think it's Judge Rogers. There's a guy in that town too, and I think it's the guy. So there's some judge. So whoever the guy judges in that town, find out who his lawyer was in his divorce, and that's who Rob is talking about. Rob says that lawyer gets the judge cuts for him no matter what. So, period on that. Anyways, judges must be aware of and address any biases or negative attitude towards pro se litigants to ensure that all parties are treated fairly and that justice is served. And I'm just going to say that from that right there, in the first protective order hearing, you had Megan testified, you had Rob testified. Now that's it on their side. So that's it. Megan's best friend testified on my side. That's Jessica Williams. I testified on my side, and Josh Montero testified on my side. And Josh even hinted to the fact that whenever I argue, I talk like this. I talk a little loud. But Josh says that this can be interpreted as being violent. And I say, bullshit. Do you know, Josh knows for a fucking fact, after 25 years of being around me, that no matter how loud I get, I will never swing on somebody. I will not cause physical harm to anybody. If I'm talking loud, normally it's because you're talking loud and I reflect it nicely. But pro se litigants should also be aware of their rights and responsibilities in court and should seek assistance from legal resources or self-help centers if needed. Now, I had all those options, but I'm serious as fuck that going through this whole process, I was working my fucking ass off 7 days a week to try and stay ahead of the bills that I had going on in life while trying to battle 3 fucking attorneys, Rob Henderson, John Houston Nix, Reagan Zipperman. All right, look, I'm about halfway through this letter that I wrote to the judge. About 4.5 pages out of 12, okay? So I'm going to make another video continuing this with all the extra stuff that I got. I will talk to y'all later. This is already 28 minutes long, and I have been ad-libbing, so I got 4.5 minutes, 12 minutes total, 28 minutes at 4.5 minutes just by ad-libbing and talking about extra shit. So this is me, once again, expressing my freedom of speech, my freedom of religion, my freedom of the press, my right to bear arms, and the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution protects this. Anything that violates my constitutional rights to defend myself. And remember, I do believe myself to be a victim of a crime worse than rape. Because if you ask any fucking person on earth, would you much rather have your daughter stolen from your life and you have no idea about their safety? Or would you much rather be raped? Everybody answers rape me. Rape me 5 days a week and twice on Sunday. Because I would much rather have that than have my kid vanish from my fucking life. If I had got raped 4.5 years ago, I know I would be over that shit. But every day when I go to bed, I think about the fact that my daughter ain't here, and it will never end. Never. Until a judge looks me in the eye and says, look, Mr. Meeks, if you don't shut the fuck up, we're going to lock you in a hole, and you will not be able to take care of any of your other kids. Not because you're a bad person, but because I fucking personally took your rights away. And I'm willing to stand behind what I did because I'm willing to cut for Rob Henderson that fucking much. John Nix, great motherfucker, piece of shit, bitch. Fucking Reagan Sifferman. She's the most innocent out of the group, but still guilty as fuck because I tried talking to her. All any of these motherfuckers got to do is reach out to me and say, hey, look, they clearly lied to me. You know, John Nix, like he sat and talked to me about Jesus and repentance and we all cold-hearted sinners and blah, blah, blah. And that motherfucker fucked me over 2 weeks later after preaching Jesus to me, lying to me in his fucking office. I know he was lying to me because he was talking about a fucking 1-year-old and a 5-year-old needing to go hide in their parents' bed because of some shit I was posting on Facebook. The motherfucker was a manipulative, lying piece of shit. And I can say that. And if I was wrong about it, I'd be in court already because these motherfuckers would fucking have me strung up quick, fast, and in a hurry. But they know I can prove what I'm saying. That's why I don't have no fucking charges against me for character defamation. John Houston Nix, I can prove that motherfucker lied to Judge Phillips. I got the audio recording of me and John Houston Nix hanging out, talking for about, 30, 45 minutes, somewhere in there. And at no point in that did he tell me that we had a court case coming up. And then in the transcript from Judge Phillips, John Houston Nix said, I informed him in our last meeting. And I got the whole fucking meeting. And I gave them a good address. And at the same time, you're supposed to try and work with the opposing counsel to find good court dates. They didn't even do that. He never reached out to me. He never called me. He never emailed me. Nothing. He served an address that he knew that his client was awarded in the protective order because he knew I wouldn't be there, praying that I wouldn't show up. And then they both act like fucking tweaked out meth heads on the fucking protective order stand because I showed up. I'm a good dude. I'm fighting for my motherfucking life with my kids. Not even just that, like, you know, everything that I do is in the hopes that one day it'll stop some other dude that's just like me from doing just like what I did. No matter how sweet a woman is, man, Megan to me, she was like a fucking librarian. She was sweet. She was kind. She was always fighting for what was right with people around her. When she fucked me over, it caught me blindside. Like everything that she said to me to seduce me out of my first marriage, which she told me everything. Like she said everything a woman could say to get a guy to leave. And then once I left, 90 days later, she goes, you know, all that was just fantasy right there. It's just supposed to exist within your head. Like, no, that's not it. Like, you know, that's not, I was lied to. Megan lied to me to get me out of my marriage. She lied to Rob to get him out of his marriage. She tried lying to Mr. Ford to get him out of his marriage, but he wasn't stupid enough to fall for the shit because that motherfucker came from a lot of money already. Keith Shimanek, on the other hand, that motherfucker stepped up and fucking took the hit for Mr. Ford. He put his name on the birth certificate for Micah Shimanek, even though Micah's not his kid, with the expectations of, you know, the greed of a poor person wanting to make a little bit more money out of tax dollars. Micah Shimanek is not related to Keith Shimanek. And Keith Shimanek told me he would sign his rights away to Micah Shimanek, but his whole family would frown upon him for doing so he couldn't do it. And the difference, he also said this, the difference between him having custody of Micah and Megan having custody of Micah was $1,000, because it's the difference between him paying out $1,200 and Megan giving him $300 or some shit, whatever the fucking math is on that shit. The reason why I signed my rights away to Willow to begin with is because Megan lost a child to a guy that was not even related to her. I promised that I would sign my rights away in the event that we broke up. Prior to removing a fucking IUD from Megan, I would, before removing the IUD, I fucking little scissor pinched that shit. It took us 2 nights of getting drunk to get it out, but I got it out. And then we planned the ovulation cycle. But prior to all that, I said that I don't want to just have another baby with somebody. Like, if we're going to have a baby, I need to know that this shit is forever. I do not want to be a 65-year-old man paying child support to some ruthless bitch from my past, because that's what I was already doing to one of my wives. So yes, you can say in essence it was about child support, but the agreement is if we had this baby, there would be no child support ever. If she was short on cash and needed to offload Willow to me so that she could make more money, then she would offload Willow to me. You know, there's supposed to be a 50-50 dynamic of amazing co-parenting shit. We listened to hundreds of fucking hours of fucking people on the internet talking about this is the best shit to do. And then when it happened, I was still paying her child support. I was just paying her what I could until I could get a house. But I was stuck in this delusion of thinking that maybe she was just in a manic episode, and I was waiting for a manic episode to pass, and then we were going to get back together. So I stayed in my car for 6 months hoping that this shit would end. And it did not end, because I didn't know that she was having an affair with her boss the whole fucking time. So I was the only one ignorant in this. She's having sex with him. She's having sex with me. Every time I have sex, I give oral every fucking time. So if he's balling his load off in her, I'm eating it up every night when she comes home. And then at the same time, if he's doing the same thing to her, I blow my load off on her because she don't like condoms. So Megan to me, inadvertently or whatever, I don't even know how you explain it, but she forced me to suck semen out of the end of his dick by passing it through her. So to me, I say that that's sort of how it ties this level of shit, ties it together with rape, and the fact that if he did go down on her throughout that 9 months, she had my semen in her. If I went down on her, which I did every time, and we'll just say probably from May 18th to January 6th, me and her had sex at least 100 times, bare minimum 100 times. I mean, it was almost every fucking night me and her had sex. So if he wasn't, there was maybe 2 months strong in the process of that. She just had me convinced that we were going to have sex with each other, so we didn't have to worry about rushing out into another relationship and having, feeling the need to want to have sex to be the thing that forced us to pick the person that we were talking to. And at the same time, Megan had me promise that I would be polyamorous, so that in the event that she changed her mind, the new woman would always be okay with it. And that's been a hurdle, because I guarantee you it's cost me relationships since then, because through all of this, I felt like I've kept my promises, but she didn't keep none of hers. Man, this is getting way too long-winded. But remember, I got 6 more pages of this that I want to... see that? That's my daughter tattoo. It's not the best, but it reminds me of her every day. The semicolon isn't a suicide thing. It's about saying our story's on pause. There's 6 hearts to represent her birthday's in the 6th month. Anyways, I'm going to get off here. Freedom of speech. Freedom of religion, freedom of the press. This is literally me reporting my news, and at the same time, it's my right to bear arms because I use my voice as my weapon, and the supremacy clause of the United States Constitution protects all that. And make sure that you listen to this and to this in its entirety, because all this is testimony. Love y'all. Everybody, have a good night. I'm sorry I'm missing my daughter. I'm a little drunk tonight. And we'll literally just say that what's going on right now is exactly what everybody in my life gets to put up with every time I hang out with them. Everybody gets to hear about how much of a victim I am, because this is worse than rape. And if you just imagine somebody you know, you love, you care about, close to you getting raped, and then just imagine them going through something even worse than that. I'm going through that. And if you don't believe that I'm going through something worse than that, ask yourself the question, would I much rather be raped or have my kid vanish from my life? Even people that don't have kids in their life can ask themselves that question and still know that they would much rather be raped than have their kid ripped from their life. My kid got ripped from my life. I literally was at the park with her for fucking 2.5 hours the day before the last day I saw her. Love y'all. Have a good night. Bye.